You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kouba.
My name is Nick Sperry.
My name is Andrew Oehler.
And we have some tournaments to talk about, including the California System Open, which we streamed, as well as the final Conquest, the Alamo Conquest. Andrew Oehler returns as a two-time Conquest champion to discuss
What?
his win.
Let's go.
Woo.
Which, welcome. Thank you so much for coming
Boo,
back
that
on.
was awful. Come on, Andrew Oehler.
We can't ask him to cheer for himself. Come on, that's crazy. We got to cheer
yes.
for him. We got to be the ones to add the applause in.
Clap. Yeah, thanks for coming back, Andrew. I know this was it wasn't the only time that Andrew and I would be able to record this, but before the holidays, if we wanted to get this out in a meaningful or a good amount of time, we needed to do it today. So thank you for making the time.
Yeah, North.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Sorry, the problem with having two Andrews on the podcast too is
I'll just try to say Oehler.
Yeah, or Kouba.
That's
Yeah, we could go by the last names, and I should be Andy anyway with the Andrew Bill rules since Andrew retains
right.
top Andrew. So, and it's also good just to get everything out now, just because we do have a backlog, and it feels like an X-Wing things are just happening all the time. We've had a whole new meta, lots of tournaments going on. This is honestly felt the most active that X-Wing has been in a while, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the front lines like Oehler is, winning multiple championships and building the most degenerate lists that actually make me want to cry watching from a commentator perspective. But I agree with that. I'm feeling so much pressure, in a good way. I thought we were kind of winding things down until we wound them back up again, and I'm here just trying to find some time to breathe. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think for the X-Wing community, that's a good position for me to be in, for us to be in. I mean, yes.
Super exciting.
LDR, yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
So speaking of all the new lists that were on display in these last two tournaments, I just kind of wanted to go around and just kind of kick off this episode with an impression on what you feel the new XWA changes are, because they are fundamentally, I think, a pretty big change in the game. So I was going to kick it over to our guest on what your impression has been.
It's interesting. It's been kind of a different world, a different beast, List building feels both more open and more restrictive, in that I feel like you have way more options now in combinations of things. It's not just like a 4-4
Mm-hmm.
They've toned down the power level again, so it really feels like lists are missing something almost from 20-point land. And objectives feel a little less important, but they did matter. They still matter enough that they're worth having around. They're worth playing. It's not just you can ignore them. I don't know. It's interesting. It's kind of adjusting to a new world. It feels similar, but a little odd, to transfer over from 20. In a good way, though, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in real quick. Yeah. I've been pretty confident in summarizing the changes as the X-Wing Alliance wanting to see over the span of an average game of X-Wing more total destruction occur on the board. And so the changes have been made to kind of emphasize destruction. It may be before, let's say your average game, you had 3 ships taken off the board, maybe 4. You're more likely to have a player or both players lose half their list over the span of a game, especially if they're evenly matched and all of those things, average on average kind of thing. Which is a little bit of a deviation from, I think, what, at least as someone who streamed and has watched so many games of X-Wing, I feel like I can speak to this. A little bit of a deviation from what we had been seeing before, where people were kind of from the get-go opting in on a strategy of, I'm going to play 60 to 70% objective focus and supplement my victory points with a ship or two. And now it's, now what you need to do to focus on trying to get 60 to 70% of your points via destruction and supplement your victory points with objectives. So the weight balance, the weight of things have changed. And it's definitely, I think, shocking for those who really mastered objective play. I mean,
Hmm.
I've said it many times at Worlds this year. I scored 18 salvage points and I killed Sabine, and that's how I won a game against a very good opponent in day two. So, like, I felt confident and comfortable playing that kind of game of way of X-Wing, but it doesn't mean that it was my favorite way of playing X-Wing.
I also think since XWA took over and introduced half points on everything, I think the game, this is kind of the intended direction they wanted the game to go in with 20 and half points and scenarios. I felt games escalated a little too quickly and were actually a little too fast. I felt that the points added up too quickly and games would be unresolved.
When it was 20 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that. I think that if you're going to do like the half point on ships, the 50 points is where it wants to be. I was gonna say this feels the most like 2.0 I've felt playing 2.5 as far as the game pacing goes.
Yes.
And even the way that lists are built, like I felt myself constantly when I've been playing, like getting flashbacks of like the 2.0 days strategy wise. I also am wondering if that's because maybe objectives were nerfed a little bit too much. Like I feel like we're on the cusp of like something really amazing with X-Wing, and I think if maybe there might be some room for some of the objectives to come back a little bit, like not make them to where they were as important as they were before XWA took over, but even just like I think there's just some little tweaking that needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always a fan of overcorrect and then adjust
Oh,
than
for sure.
undercorrect and then scramble. No pun intended. This is just, again, I don't think anyone thinks I'm here trying to bash anybody, but we can harken back to the very first iteration of 2.5 at Adepticon before it was Worlds,
Yeah.
and it felt half baked, like it was a beta, and they acknowledged that they needed to collect a lot of data from the players at that event to like see how good or bad things were, but it was very strange.
It was wacky.
It was wacky. It didn't feel tested. It felt half baked. It just wasn't ready. And so instead of them kind of really taking it away and giving us something that felt more polished, they're like, we're gonna have you guys be our play testers. And I'm not a huge fan of that personally. I think it's any developer or organization, XWA now, it's their responsibility to run through the testing enough to feel confident in what they're delivering is like, here you go, play
Oh, for
this, let's
sure.
see how it goes. And so there's been an overcorrection with a little bit. I wouldn't say anything drastic, but with power level when it comes to objectives, by a small percentage. We're not talking
Yeah.
about any sort of massive issue, but
Yeah.
when we talk about the California System Open, I'm looking at the results across the rounds and how few of them hit 50 points, and that's a data point or a thing we should pay attention to. If games are evolving so much but still not hitting 50 points, that means that, yeah, the objective play weight is a little down from maybe where it should be. But here's the thing: how do you fix that? It's not that easy because then math gets really weird and bizarre if we stop doing the 2-to-1 kind of ratio or 2-0 or 1-to-1 scoring. Do you double it? Like, it just people are not good at math, so it's just there is some room to change,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure what those changes would be. XWA would have to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about on the last episode that maybe like a 2-5 split could be something that we could look at. But yeah, I mean, I mean, there's lots of people have ideas, and that's what we're here to talk about on this podcast. I was going to say, speaking of the California System Open, if we wanted to start getting into some of that data, Nick, you were just
Yes.
there. Yeah, let's take a dive into that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the second event that we have traveled, that I've traveled with our gear, about 130 pounds worth of baggage, two hard shell cases, a backpack with a computer and batteries, and a duffel bag, and which was easy peasy on the way there, not so easy peasy on the way back. We'll talk about that in a moment, but
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to the Shaken pilots. They're guys that have traveled really well and played X-wing at all the conventions, all the tournaments. Michael Moshba was the one who hosted me. He's one of the core members of that group. He literally opened up his doors and gave me a bedroom and let me crash at his gorgeous apartment overlooking San Francisco from the hills. We were literally on a slope, like a deep incline or decline, depending which way you're driving. It was the most Bay Area thing ever. He has an amazing apartment, just a really great guy, and he did an awesome job running this event with Joshua Miles. So I just want to give them a shout out, the Shaken Pilots, and also Dan Fowler, who helped set up and organize that event as well. Um, this event was the first system open that was using the new points. So a lot of intrigue around this event. Really felt proud to be able to bring the event coverage, like to be for people to be able to watch it. A lot of people, especially from XWA, we all wanted to see, how this would go, and it went great. One thing I want to note is that turnout for US events has been I mean, I'll be candid as a former PR lead and still a member of the group, a little underwhelming. It's been a slower growth than what we've seen overseas. A lot of people were just waiting to come back to play X-Wing in Canada and especially in Europe. And here in the US, we're dealing with almost a little bit of an opposite, where a lot of people have decided, you know what, I don't think I want to play this game right now, or in a lot of cases anymore. And so we're seeing the literal effects of that with turnout in the US, especially LVO had 16 people. However, with that event, it was twice in 1 year. I think that's incredibly unfair to look at that data and be like, X Wing's not doing well in the United States. LVO is a bit of an exception because of the fact that it was in January and October.
Yeah.
But we had 23 people at this one at the California System Open. So, I think we were hoping for over 30, 23. I think is perfectly acceptable. And we appreciate everybody, especially those who traveled from lower California, which is like 6, 7, 8 hours away. We had people from Orange County. We also had folks like Jorge from Washington and the Portland area, Obi-Wan and John Witherspoon made that trip from the PNW. So we got really good variety on the West Coast on that coast coming and playing at this event, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you guys want to indulge me, if you click into Roll Better for this event and you just go to click round one, you go to rounds, and I'll read off some of the scores for you guys, just talking about 50 points. We had 18 to 31, 46 18, 25 to 22, 56 to 22, 38 to 6, 34 to 37, 14 to 59. And I just counting down, we had two games that hit 50 plus. Round two, I'm not going to read all these out again, but we had two games in round two that went to 50 plus. Round three, one game. So there's a bit of a trend. You have 11 appearing 11 tables and only one table is hitting a victor with 50 plus points.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Table Three's got 49, 45.
right, some
Yeah.
that were in the 40s, but because people are playing more rounds now, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So they're playing more rounds. They're hitting time, but they're hitting time before they're scoring that. They're getting to that threshold. Round four, people seem to start getting the hang of it, or they just decided to joust because they were tired because we had a lot more hit 50 plus in the final round. Um, but yeah, it's just I thought that was really interesting. The games on our stream, only the last one hit 50.
Mm.
It was basically a theme of uh, playing to time and just trying to get to 40. So it's a small sample and it's kind of way too early, but I think we all agree that there is a little bit of wiggle room to work with here and balancing. But again, like I said, overcorrecting, adjust later is always better and safer to
Yeah.
do for sure. Um,
So
Day one,
and
we played Foundry and Lux. Sorry, I'll wrap this up.
yep,
Uh,
no, you're good.
which was a beautiful restaurant. This is a venue that I played at the last Golden State games. The Shaken Pilots know the manager there, so they were able to play at this beautiful restaurant right near the water, not too far from the water, and this little downtown office complex area with some nice restaurants. And then day two was at their game store, Gamescape, in the actual like San Francisco proper where they play their game store. So we had to set up and tear down, and then set up and tear down again, which was it was an exhausting trip. and then I got stranded at Oakland because my flight was canceled because of the snow in Chicago. So
Oof.
that was
Oh
a
no.
sad end to a fun, really fun trip and successful trip. I
Yeah.
had a 5 a.m. flight the next morning and had to book a hotel and stay there. And Southwest didn't comp me for anything. So thank you to the
Oh.
patrons for giving me a hotel room. I appreciate that. Um, it's not that I would have been homeless or whatever without that help, but it helped make me feel less bad. So,
For sure.
anyways, that's enough of me rambling about this event. But I do want to shout out Dominic DiCarlo for winning it, and we can talk about Top Cut in a second. But I want to throw it over to you guys about anything that you noticed just looking at the insights and the overview for this event in particular.
A lot of Republic in the top half. I think 4 of the top 8 are Republic, so that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you have some really notable Republic players with like Jorge and Obi-Wan.
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of it. Most of the lists in the top are 4-ship lists.
Yeah, Force. So, that's probably something that we're gonna get more accustomed to seeing is expecting 4-ship, but not being surprised when someone brings a 5-ship list.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, Although at number 12, there seems to be a glitch because Hitman has like a 28-ship list. So, but yeah, it's funny. That's just a glitch.
So I was just curious though, like I'm just trying to think when, like how soon after new points did this come out? Like the system open was on the 8th. It was 10 days ago. So new points have been around for what, maybe 2 weeks at this point?
I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Because yeah, this is the first major tournament.
Yes, that sounds right. I'm like going back to was on the third.
Oh, wait, November 3rd?
The stage was, oh, I'm sorry. That was a follow-up to the post. It was the
Okay.
26th of October was
Yeah, okay. So yeah,
the
so
announcement.
it's been about 2 weeks then.
Yes,
Because I was
sir.
like, that would have been crazy if it was 5 days.
Crazy.
Um,
Yep. 2 weeks.
yeah, so this is what everybody's kind of, first trying to figure out what's going on too with their lists. But yeah, 56% of the field or 57% brought 4-ship lists, and then 30% at 5. And I think that that's what we've seen with these new points. Not only is like the power level gone down, the average ship count I think was now back to 4 instead of being 5.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? As a streamer, I love having having to keep track of less on the board. It's easier for me to be able to provide like what feels like a more comfortable stream and commentary. Um, 8 ships on the board versus 10 to 12 at once is more manageable. Now,
Hmm.
people are going to be like, well, let's talk about the game, not about what the streamer likes. Like, yeah, I get that. But I think from a player perspective too, it's probably, I would think that a lot of people enjoy the fact that they can feel more comfortable bringing a 4-ship or even a 3-ship list that we've seen, a bunch of people bring now. But that's just my opinion. I don't know about you guys. How do you feel
I
about
think it's
ship count dropping?
I think it's also easier on the players
Hmm.
remembering triggers for both players, your opponent and you. If ship count drops, you have a little less padding.
Yeah, I would think that that's also why we're seeing the games are going to more rounds that are happening too.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's less setup time, even like all of that is exponential, like adds up to a snappier game, a lot less for both players to keep track of too, and more space on the board, less time thinking about your maneuvers, setting dials, and crashing into yourself. Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. It's also just clutter became such a big part of X-Wing for a while, for years. With more with scenarios and more ships on the board, there's just more tokens, there's more clutter.
Hmm.
And I think having to mark an extra 2 or 3 ships when you need to check a firing arc, like all of those things add up to like the mental toll or the physical toll that it takes on you over an event, especially playing, I mean, in person mainly. And so yeah, I think it's just nice there's more open space, that you have different theaters of combat happening. You have a one-on-one, like two aces going at it at the bottom of the board, and then you have 2 ships on each side or a formation, coming at each other in the middle. And I feel like there's less clashing of towards the middle of just everything kind of being thrown together. Now, granted, this isn't a blanket statement. You see very different types of engagements every game of X-Wing, but now with the average ship count being 4, I think there's a little bit more of a tactical mindset that people take with where they set up,
Hmm.
and delaying an engagement, or trying to catch a ship off guard and really being more aggressive. So kind of the inverse of that. Uh, it's kind of a brave new world of like, let me try things and see what sticks. What does my play style look like now? How does it change? How does it adapt to this new system? I'll tell you one thing that I really love about this. Again, referring to what I see when I'm watching games and what I want to see when I'm streaming games, is that the pendulum effect is more real. Someone can score, you know, 12 points, and the other player scores 15. It's no longer a, all right, they got the 5 point ship, that then the other player got the 5 point ship, and now they're tied again. Like, different ships being valued differently allows for things to swing in a unique way, and for there to be
Mm,
maybe more swinging back and forth between players,
For
which is
sure.
exciting. It's like, oh, you could, a comeback. We saw a comeback in the Alamo Conquest. A player was down by a lot and came back in the last 2 rounds and won. And I mean, that's good for the game. That's competitive. And so not everything being priced at the same value is good. That's that's a really good thing.
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree, and
for
I
sure.
think half points have a lot to do with that too, which I think that's probably one of the best changes that they put back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one that was speculated to be not as popular as it ended up being, because when we would ask, I mean, I asked this question to people at LVO like years ago, like, what if we added half points in? It's like, well, how's that even going to work with scenarios, and like, where's the balance? I think XWA has proven that there's a way to make this work, and we found something that isn't perfect, but that is certainly getting people excited, and that feels good enough put together, as a full game to get
Mhm.
to the 50 point threshold to win your game. And yeah, I agree. Half points, you can actually consider shooting at something that is worth a lot of points and has maybe a decent amount of health, or is just hard to hit because you
Mhm.
get rewarded for trying, whereas before you probably wouldn't. Yeah. Chiming in. Does anything surprise you, Oler, about the squads or the faction distribution? I mean, for a California System Open, Republic, like you said, had 20, it was about a quarter of the field.
Yeah, yeah, that's the number one number. Scum's always been a popular faction, and Scum will always be a popular faction in tournaments. Inversely, CIS is always usually the least or the second least popular, and they always do well. Republic being the top dog is surprising over like Empire or Scum or Rebels, though, in terms of both cut percentage
Yeah.
um, and overall field percentage. So yeah, that's just I think Republic's awesome, but that's just
Rick
surprising.
was taken in 5 different instances. It seems like Rick Ali is probably one of the best value pieces, especially at I5, with the ability to roll additional dice, go fast, get free evades.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if we're looking at a snapshot of that this is people trying to make, because I'm looking at some of the compositions here, and it feels like people are trying to make their old lists work in the new meta.
Yeah, and I think that'll be what people gravitate to,
Hmm.
especially early events like this in Alamo and stuff.
Yeah,
People will
exactly.
Yeah.
experiment more as time goes on.
Now, what was really cool about Dominic's list, he won the event. He had a resistance list, and I can't think of too many times where resistance has like won a large event. Resistance has always been steady, but it's neat to see it triumph like this, especially a list that featured, talking about throwing back to 2.0, that
Yeah.
features Greer Sonnel, which no one's going to be excited about, but maybe the three of us. So it feels like that way, because
No,
Greer's
it's
just
super
like
cool.
nothing. He's just efficient, and he's a really good, solid piece. Free rotate after he fully executes a maneuver. But you get 3 RZ2 A-Wings and a 5 ship resistance list. Lulo has heroic starboard slash and advanced optics. Finn has heroic pattern analyzer, perceptive co-pilot, and targeting computer. Greer has just heroic and advanced optics. ZZ has heroic prockets, advanced optics, and then Kaz has notorious R1J5 overtune modulators, targeting computer, and his fireball title. Um, Very 2.0 to me, but with 5 ships.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a
I
sweet list. A super cool list. You're right. Resistance is always the bridesmaid. They're consistently in cut. They're always doing well at
Yeah.
events, but they rarely win.
So funny enough, Resistance also won the Bay Area Conquest. So I think they just do well in California.
There you go. Yeah. That might be it. That might just be it. Yeah. Delta 7B Anakin had become a lot of very, very good in the last 20-point iteration that XWA gave us. And then
Yeah.
he continues to see play in a dominant way uh now. So small sample, but Anakin 7B Anakin is so dangerous in the right hands. He is so good and so fun to watch. Good for the game that he's a factor again. He had been jailed for a while, and it was nice to see him start to get played more the last year, roughly, a little less. Um, More Z95 stub getting played. But why don't you talk to me about the scum list here, number 4 across, Andrew? Some very interesting pieces. This is John's list. Do you see it? The scum list?
We got Baby Fan with Predator marksmanship. We got Dirge with auto blasters, which is something you don't see very often. Marksmanship, contraband. You have the Mandalorian in the Razor Crest with the Razor Crest, electronic baffle, overtune modulators, and Jabba the Hutt. So he's getting those calculates for 5 turns in a row, baby. And then Dalen Oberos with Predator and Tracking Fob, which is an upgrade you do not see often.
Yeah.
Dude, this is sick. I mean,
Yeah, I think
Razor
it's sweet.
Crest Mando. John won by a single evade result in his game on our stream for Top Cut. The top 8 game. Like his opponent had almost come back where he needed like 3 hits in a Mando, and Mando had an evade and was able to spend it to take one less needed for half to swing the game the other direction. Very exciting finish. Um, but a Razor Crest on the board, another chassis that has basically been jailed for whether because people didn't want to play it or that it was too expensive or awkward with loadout or both or all of it, whatever. Uh, Love it. Dalen Oberos and the Star Viper. Turns out that guys remember there are other pilots in the Star Viper besides Sperry.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just super good.
Funny enough, we're not talking about this event in the show notes, but there was also a big event in Poland last weekend, and this exact same Mando build won the event. Very different
Wow.
list, but this same Mando build. So I think it's something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, it'd be nice to. I'd love to pull out the Razor Crest again. Yeah, let's do it. But yeah, I mean, great first kind of foyer for the US and the first system open with the new points as well. Thank you again to Michael and the Shaken Pilots for hosting 312. And, it feels good to be able to do right on our promise to cover more X-Wing events in person and travel with our gear. We're really proud of the stream that we put together and where the channel has gone. And so it was really awesome to kind of flex that and show some important XWA X-Wing to the world, to anyone who wanted to watch. So any last thoughts for California System Open before we move on over to Conquest?
Jorge almost did it. He almost did the three-peat.
Yeah, and he has already won LVO twice this year.
Yeah,
So
and he
in one
won
year.
the Canadian System Open I was at just a couple weeks before this.
Wow.
So
I didn't
So,
realize Jorge only had just started playing in during COVID.
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
Good for them. I was gonna say, do we create a triple crown for X-Wing? I think we kind of have to do that at this point.
might have to do that. Yeah.
We start getting
I
like
can't think of a
jackets
sweeter
and
guy to win something like that
oh, for sure.
than Jorge. um, Jorge is probably the model type of player that I'm hoping you and well, I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna butter you up really quick, Oehler. You and Jorge both are two people who have just been optimistic enough and continued to play and show up in every way possible, and had a really good attitude about all of the things that have been going on with this game and being receptive to what the XWA has been trying to do. And we honestly, I hope that that rubs off on more people. I appreciate it very deep, like very much. So I just, from a player perspective, people always say, "Hey, thanks for streaming. Really, thanks for everything you do for the community." But there is the type of player that you guys are, that you and Jorge are, is equally as important to the sustainability of this game at this point. So I just want to give you guys that shout out.
Oh, thank you. I just like X-Wing. I'll keep playing
Yeah,
it
I roll
till
dice, I play ships. Yeah.
yeah. I'll keep playing it whatever form people want to play it in.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to really like the form it's in now. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we're onto something. I had felt really burnt out from playing, and I was taking an extended break, and I just didn't feel like playing the 20-point system anymore. I was just like, I just don't, and it had nothing to do with the quality of what you could play. I just didn't feel like it. And then this happened, and it's just like, you know what? I feel rejuvenated and optimistic about the game more than I have felt in a while.
It's because you got to put Defender Vader on the table,
Well, I had never played Defender
and
Vader
then rinse me
until
with it, and then
well,
you're
I
like,
asked to play
"Oh,
chance engagement, so I think I kind of beat you by just choosing chance engagement.
look,
I
that's what
probably
you
lose
needed."
any other. I know. Well, I lose any other scenario. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Nick,
Well,
can we play chance? He's like, I don't
that's
really play.
incriminating, man. And no one needs to know I'm playing Defender Vader. That no one respects me anymore.
No, I'm happy you got your spark back. No, that's good.
Yeah.
I got
Well,
to play
yeah.
Defender Vader.
Yeah, I will say Defender. We got to talk about Defender Vader and Alamo. By the we're about to, because all of a
Heck yeah.
sudden, in the history of the game of X-wing, we have events where there's not just one Defender Vader list. There's like, on one hand, I can count with almost all my fingers Defender Vader lists. So really crazy.
It was funny. I mean, this is a good segue, I guess, into Alamo. And
It is.
my experience with it was when they announced Defender Vader, everyone read the card and was like, "Well, this has to be like a million points because this is way too crazy of a ship." And when it came out, it was already priced out of being worth it to play. So I think the new meta has made it the perfect meta for Defender Vader. Like I've never seen more Defender Vader at a tournament. I think since they had even released the ship.
You're right. It's crazy. I mean, this is a unicorn. Like, Defender Vader is like a cheat code unicorn that, like, you'd be like, you don't have the balls to take. That's half your list. In 2.0, he was like 115 points. So I mean, he was beefy. He was a beefy
Yeah,
boy.
I mean, that's one of the biggest changes we see going from the system open to the Alamo Conquest is the number of three ship lists. When before we had 57% of the field was four lists, there was one person who brought a three ship list. Now we have 15% of the field at the Alamo
Wow.
Conquest is three ship lists.
Yeah, and before we really dive into it, I just want to preface, for those that maybe aren't familiar, the Conquest Series was a circuit of monthly tournaments across different time zones with an invitational system for a top 64 conquest in December. So we started in April with the Windy City Conquest and did different themed conquests through November, and we just finished this last one, the Alamo Conquest, that we're about to really do a deeper dive into. And I do want to read out the names of all of our winners, including our two-time champion guest, Mr. Andrew Oehler here. But Sevwall winning the inaugural number one first Windy City Conquest with a pretty brutal field, about 60 players, many of whom ended up winning a conquest was in this event. We also had Tom Veal winning the Crumpet Conquest. We had a Bloody Brit take that one home. We had Obi-Wan win the Pierogi Conquest. We had, people in the US, including Juan, playing at midnight through the early mornings. That is dedication. Snaggletooth, Mr. Joel Springle, winning the Bay Area Conquest, and then Josh Calmooney beating everyone out for the champion of the Middle Earth Conquest, the one that I had the most fun with. You guys got to watch those back. It's the overlay names are quite hilarious. We also had Bay Knight, Taylor Jacobs, win the Empanada Conquest. I gotta give him a shout out. That's not one that we ended up having a podcast episode on, but he did win with Resistance. So just to say that it is possible. We've seen it now a couple of times. And lastly, Mr. Andrew Oehler, I didn't mention Gotham, but you won Gotham and you won the Alamo Conquest. So congratulations on the 2 time. You clinched the #1 seed in the bracket for winning 2 of these. And I have another customs form to fill out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, shipping to Canada is a nightmare right now. So
It is, yeah. Yeah, shout out to David and Desi, the 2 people in Canada who for some reason, out of all the other people in Canada that I ship to, their stuff always gets sent back to me saying it needs a customs form. Shout out to those 2. I feel bad for them. They have to wait so long to get their stuff. But yeah, so let's do a deeper dive. I love that call out, Andrew, the 15% of the field for Alamo, the final qualifier. And also, actually, you know what? Pause. Shout out to Andrew for playing his tail off and sneaking in with a final invite for
Hey,
the Global Conquest. You
hey,
deserve it. You really did. Even though you went 2-2, but I thought you played really well. All this conquest you played in, so I think you deserve it. I
thanks. I
know you deserve it.
appreciate it. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, that's a more a testament to just sticking in there. If you show up, it might eventually roll down to you.
exactly. Don't drop. Don't drop, especially at the end. You're playing one
You
of the
gotta
top.
play. Yeah, you gotta play it out. I know.
3 ship lists though. How many Vader Defender lists? Can we figure that one? Well, actually, in Pattern Analyzer, there were 3 Vader Defender lists.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were three Raider defenders. However, also interesting, no list was ever repeated.
Yeah.
So
in the
each
That's
entire
good.
event.
There's so many choices in
yeah,
X-Wing.
in the entire the like the combination of ships. Yeah, no one repeated the same combination of ships.
That's cool.
They were
That's
all
really cool,
unique,
actually.
which is oh wait, no, I take that back. There's two people that have a two resistance players brought the same lists. But other than that, everybody else is has the same has a different combination of ships.
So I'm looking at ship count. So Empire 25% of the field, and then Rebels is 20, and then FO is 17 and a half, and then Republic at 15.
Yeah,
So
big
little
shift.
yeah, I mean, we're probably going to see serious differences and discrepancies between online events and in-person events, US based, and then same sort of thing across seas with the Europe folks as well, the European folks. But
For
I
sure.
just want to give a call out to Iden Versio, Battle of Yavin TIE Interceptor,
Yes.
starting to see some play,
Play
especially
her.
at a cheap
She's insane.
cost.
She's
Sh-
insane.
At
She,
11
yeah,
points, she is a serious ship now,
yeah,
which is
she can
great.
multiple times restrict damage, not cancel it, but I would rather play a ship that has recurring charges that allows me to a few times a game restrict or limit damage
Yeah,
versus a one-time charge like tie. They're different, of course, in different uses, but tie interceptor Iden, as soon as the product of Battle of Yavin hit the shelves, she was DOA unless you're
yeah,
playing the scenario.
yep.
So we're seeing that with Captain Yor. Captain Yor has gotten, I've seen at both California System Open and the Alamo Conquest here. Countess Riot, the Defenders, when we're talking about
Defenders, yep.
Empire,
Lots of
is a
defenders. Yeah,
theme. TIE
yep,
Defenders. Jendon getting a couple of games, including our first game on stream was Defenders versus Defenders, which was pretty epic. Can we all still agree that the TIE Defender Elite configuration is generally pretty bad?
Oh, it's garbage, unfortunately.
Because that was the theme of the game in game one was TIE Defender Elite Vader versus the non-TIE Defender Elite. It was Jendon and X1 Vader, but we saw that the fact that Volscaris and Vader Defender being limited by this configuration cost them the game because they couldn't be defensive enough. They just took a ton of damage. And,
yep.
it's just like, I can't think of a configuration that is worse for a chassis than the TIE Defender Elite config. I actually am so confident in saying that. I think it's the #1 worst configuration in the game for what it does to a ship. It makes it so much worse. I don't care if it can double tap. No, it cannot have a white 4K and it cannot full throttle. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, losing the full throttle is the most damaging part of it.
Oh yeah, losing the white 4K is a huge deal though too. Like I don't know why they felt that was
I can
necessary as
understand
well.
removing full throttle, but I agree, right? Like, why did you have to also still remove the 4K? Like, it was overcorrecting, because they thought the double tap was that dangerous, and it really only is super super good with Vader, or can be with Vader and maybe Vessery. maybe.
Vessery. Yeah,
But it
Vessery
has
can
to be,
take
you have to
sig
really
laser
line something up.
cannons, which like
Oh,
does intrigue me a little bit. I don't know if it's good, but it does pique my interest.
that's interesting.
Well, and then
Um,
also, Jendon has it, but the rest of Jendon is just so good that it doesn't really
yeah,
matter. Gets around
yeah,
it.
yeah. Jendon still can do the white 4K, but he gets the free target lock, so he gets that like he's like in the middle, like
Oh,
Yeah,
he can do the
um,
white 4K. Ah.
yeah, he gets the dial is unchanged for Colonel Jendon. He just
Mm.
can't full throttle evade. He
Okay.
can full throttle, quote unquote, full throttle target locks
Right.
instead.
So that's the compromise is, yeah, you lose full throttle, but you get the target lock 4K, and that's still pretty good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
that this is just talking about, I guess, the defenders in general, now that we're just on Empire. I think that this may be a symptom of just the power level coming down, and so it's allowing these like big damage dealing pieces to emerge, like again.
absolutely.
this data point doesn't necessarily mean too much, but I mean, so look at the pilot initiative distribution. I think this is well, it's still interesting if you go across. So we're sitting at four, between 3 and 4 for the most pilots combined, than any other combination of two. So, which is sorry, actually,
But
there we have 32 I6s, so I stand
yeah,
corrected. But you have more 3s and 4s than we ever dreamed of, like over a year ago. Um, XW did a good job of starting to reintroduce lower initiative as a playable feature and option in list building. They did a really good job with that. But 29 instances of I3, 41 of I4, and then we have 42 and 32 for I5s and I6s. So the Alamo Conquest, dominated by the 4s through 6s, really.
yeah,
Very, talking about 2.0, when I think of 2.0 and the kind of player I was, aces. I was a big ace player. Let me look at California System Opens insights and just see if we had a similar trend with number of pilots taken at those initiatives. I4s and I5s were the most taken, and then not as many I6s, 16 instances. So, yeah, what does that say about the I1s, I2s? I mean, how many great I1, I2 choices are there? Finn comes to mind. I mean, what else can you guys think of that's like
Sunny.
truly
A lot of
great?
the generics. I think a lot of the
Yeah,
generics are more
Generics.
playable than people are probably giving them credit for.
Yeah. TIE fighters, pair of ties.
the red what FO has the zealot, the in the
Yeah, the Red Fury Zealot. Yeah.
We'll talk about them soon, but Rex,
oh my god, yeah. Wampa gets a lot of play, and I
yeah,
think is
Wampa's
still
great.
a pretty good value.
Yeah. Let's talk about what performed well leading up to Andrew's list. We got a cool spread of the top four had a combination of 3 ship, we had 5 ship, we had 6 ship, CIS, 4 ship FO. That is cool. That our top four players, not one ship count was the same.
Yeah,
I want to shout out Felipe, who had a great comeback on our stream. That'll be up on YouTube. You can watch the VOD back if you're subscribed to our Twitch channel as well as soon as you want to. Against Liam Lee, another great game, great run for him as well, by the way. Shout out to Liam
Yeah,
and his dad, Brack. Cool folks.
uh,
But a Wat Tambor General Grievous Sun Fac list accompanied by 3 Discord missile carrying Trade Federation drones.
yeah.
So undefeated with that list.
I was his round 3 win.
How did you feel going up against that list? Because Wat Tambor was incredible in in the game on stream.
Wat Tambor is incredible in my game too. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better Kraken carrier that can, even do damage. I was trying to catch him with Soon Tier Fell, and he was able to sit in the middle of the board where I didn't want to be, and took a chunk out of my decimator, and I just like wasn't able to fully destroy him. But I mean, it's a lot of ships to chew through with this list. Our game was trying to think. I think it was salvage mission too. 6 ships against my 3 ship list on salvage was also pretty tough. But no, absolutely solid list.
I am personally very happy I mean, I'm happy for Felipe. He had an awesome run. I'm very happy I got to play Tharlin in the final because I think Felipe would have run the bones on me.
Yeah.
I think that matchup is way worse for me than the 3-ship Empire.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into Tharlin bringing Colonel Jendon, the defender, BOE Jendon there, the standardized whisper, um, basically able to acquire target locks, cloak, recloak after shooting. It's really good, very, very, very good, and also really cheap. I think
And you
15
can't lock
points.
it. Yeah.
Can't lock. It's maybe a little too cheap. And then just a simple X1 Vader it reminds me of 2.0, just having hate and fire control system, and that's it. That's all he
Super
has.
efficient though. Does what he needs to do.
Super efficient. His matchup against you was difficult because of what your list is able to do, and we're about to get to that. But it was really hard to watch for me because he was just splitting fire
He did
all
not
the
shoot
time,
bigs. He was allergic to
and
shooting bigs.
yeah,
We'll talk
exactly, and
about
it
that
was
soon, but
he ended up he actually was in positions where I thought he was going to really eat it, and then he didn't, and I was like, oh, you got to take advantage of this. Like you didn't suffer the consequences like we thought you would, and then he couldn't take advantage. But your list puts a lot of pressure on players. There's a lot of synergies. It's good. Like, talk to me about your list. You had a 5-ship list: Fen,
Yeah.
Bodica, Biggs, Kyle, and Captain Rex. Walk us through it.
yeah, it's kind of a 2.0 fair ship rebel bullshit again. Sorry, I shouldn't. Oh.
Yeah, you could. We swear all the time. I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Yeah. You're good. No worries.
um, it was initially built around Bodica Biggs because I think that they're very good, efficient pieces in Rebels right now. Bodica being 12 points and getting pretty much everything she can dream of, and Biggs just sitting beside her and being 10 points and being able to keep her alive. And we played around with some pieces. Me and Kalen Wong built this list together. And we kind of discovered that Rex is really good for how cheap he is. He's criminally cheap and has a talent which I think he's only had ever in XWA land. So him being able to get snapshot, which like snapshot is kind of a meme card, you never expect it to do anything ever, but being able to snap something and suppressive fire it is extremely annoying. Rex is just an absolute nuisance to deal with.
Can you walk us through the condition card? Like what happens when he shoots? Like how you remove
Yeah,
it?
so
Why it's good?
essentially all it is if Rex shoots you, he applies a condition card to you, which essentially says if you shoot anybody but Captain Rex, you roll one less attack die. And it goes away if Rex is shot at by anybody, so you can shoot at him with another friendly ship and clear the suppressive fire. Or if Rex, dies, but also if Rex does not shoot, it goes away. But in a list with Biggs and Bodica, where Bodica, if you don't shoot her, she shoots you back. Biggs takes damage for friendly ships and splits damage really well. You add in this other wrinkle of Captain Rex that just is a little nuisance who harasses your big guns and tells them, "Shoot me," right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, there were moments in this game where he was range one of Bodica and had the most impossible choice to make. Like, do I shoot at this ship that has Beskar and Concordia, or do I shoot at the ship that I need to shoot at and get boned? Because I'm already
Yes,
gonna get shot at range one time.
Bodica
Do
hits
I make it
very,
twice?
very
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah, and you have Beskar, Optics, and Clan Training, and Predator, which is kind of the creme de la creme build for these Fang fighters. It's just chef's kiss. That's kind of everything you want. You get the defensiveness, you get the free locks, you get the bonus focus with Clan Training, and you get the reroll, the double mods potential with Predator. I mean, and then you get her bonus attack ability, and at I4, which has become more prevalent in the game, I4s. She's not as likely to get picked off by a higher initiative in this landscape. So just a huge wrinkle for especially an Aces player playing 3 ships like Tharlin. Tharlin
Mhm.
had a great run. His that final game, uh, his list collapsed on him. I mean, literally it could have happened faster, but it was a nasty game to watch. I mean, you scored 62 points by the end of that game. 62 to 13 was
Yeah,
the
he
final
didn't
score.
kill. He didn't end up killing a ship.
Yeah.
Um,
He did like 4
and
damage or 5 damage, including the regen from Biggs with Chopper, which is also freaking annoying, dude, that you can do that. So
Yeah,
annoying. Oh
regen
my
Biggs
god.
is also a
Regen Biggs
choice.
is just disgusting and dumb. Like, come
uh,
on, man.
over the tournament, though, the real winner of the list, despite it being built around Boudica Biggs, the real winner of the list is Fenrir Sheath. The
Yeah.
ship has been in jail pretty much since 2.5. And I think, including me, we all just forgot how good he is,
Oh, dude, I remember playing him with Hera.
especially with the ship count coming down. Fen being able to just neuter an attack at will and being an I6 coordinate. Like those two things alone are so incredibly valuable. It makes him, I don't know, he's probably not going to be staying at 10 points. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
If you're building a rebel list, you don't have to play the BS I was on, but I would highly recommend taking a look at Fen.
At 10 points. Yeah.
Yeah. There would be a moment where it'd be like, oh, Fenn's finally dead. And then you would spend a force. I'm like, he's got the child. Like, I'd forget about that.
Yes,
It's
and the
just,
child.
that list is so silly for like how cheap it's stuff. You like regen and the child on all these cheap ships.
Yeah, Fenrir was the last addition to the list we came up with, and he ended up being
Yeah.
probably the best part of the list.
The I6 coordinate is so powerful. I remember just like the power of a jam at I6. Like when I was playing Han, Luke, and Wedge years ago, being able to roll up to somebody at I6, be the last to move, and full everything is evolved in the board in front of you, and you're just like, this is what I'm gonna do. I see everything that I need to do in front of me. Coordinate here, jam, or whatever you can do at I6. Either of those two things, they're so potent at the
Mhm.
highest initiative. It completely changes the dynamic of a game. You can barrel roll people out of arcs that moved at I2 or 3. I mean, it's crazy.
Mhm.
Fen having the force really means that I'm leaning into coordinating every single turn with him if possible.
Yeah.
And it could be everything from as simple as giving my Rex, who's in the middle of the fire, an evade token, to barrel rolling Biggs or Boudica out of arc, to just taking a lock with someone so that the crackback really hurts. Or my favorite trick, which happened twice on the final table, you coordinate the jam to Kyle Katarn at I6.
Ugh.
Yeah, it got a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just Kyle, even just a lock rotate.
You know, what was really interesting was the game that you had against Riley, one of your former teammates, or,
Yeah,
or current, or something, Order 66
former
teammate.
teammate. Yeah, he's also a local of mine. So
Yeah. And and I played him at Worlds. He's a good guy. But could have sworn I thought he was going to win that game. And you just yeeted the entire rug from underneath him so fast. I mean, like all of a sudden, all of his hawks were dead, and he was dead man switching himself, and it was snowballing so hard. And it made, if people tuned in 20 or 30 minutes into the game, they would have had no idea that it looked like you might have been on the ropes for an engagement and that things were going to tilt in his favor. I'm not sure if you felt that way as a player in that
no,
game.
I was pretty worried about that game. That game came down to two big things. One, the other piece of the list I haven't talked about, Kyle Katarn with just Kyle Katarn's ability to be able to perfect information throw focuses. So I had second player, so he was able to pay lob tokens away from me, and then I was able to throw them with Kyle, which was a big deal. So I could guarantee a token that Paylob couldn't take.
Yeah.
And the I6 coordinate, I was able to. Boudica got bumped into Paylob. I was able to coordinate the barrel roll off of Paylob, so she was range 1 in
Yeah.
arc. And then I clamp
Yeah.
trained before Paylob engaged, so he couldn't steal that focus.
There's that game against Riley. You had Fen had friendly bumped and didn't have arc on any of the ships that had arc on your ships, right? And you
Yeah,
couldn't do the
I
Fen
absolutely
thing.
screwed up.
And
Yeah.
and so that's where I was like, oh my god, like I think Scum's gonna win this game. And I'm sure everyone thought that. But you recovered. And that's another thing about that list is there's a lot of Rube Goldberg, like Rebels list, that if you like bump one time or you miss the coordinate at the first round or like one thing goes wrong, you can't recover. Like it's over.
Mhm.
And this list has serious recovery potential, or at least you demonstrated it. Do you agree with that? Would you agree with that
Yeah,
overall, that
it's
list and the general nature of those types of lists can be like that?
yeah. The Rube Goldberg lists. It's funny because I've I've been known to fly quite a few of them, but I actually typically don't like them because exactly that happens. One thing goes wrong, or one ship dies, and the whole list just fizzles, right?
Sucks.
Um, this and Heratani, the other list from way ages ago that I like flew and I guess popularized, are very similar in that they're very defensive oriented lists that just tank stupid amounts of damage, but they are a lot harder to shut off because of their defensive capability. If you can crack the nut, you can and get ahead, you will probably tear this list apart, but that is not easy to do in a lot of situations.
was gonna say there's a
Fen,
lot of redundancy built in. Yeah.
a lot of redundancy. Everything
Yeah.
does its job really well and helps do the job of what other ships wanted. So
Yep, you are once again the architect of what's going to give people serious heartburn and PTSD, and then be like, wait a minute, my casual games aren't going to always be like this, right? You know, those sorts of thoughts.
no, I will say don't fly this list to casual
Yeah,
nights if you want friends. This is not a fun.
yeah,
It is a list that the agency is entirely on your opponent for most of the game, and it is not fun to play against. I will say the list is harder to fly than you think it is.
Hmm.
The engage is really easy because you kind of just unga bunga block joust with it. But because everything's like weird matching initiatives and different dials and stuff, it does get pretty messy, and I find it fun, but messy and weird, and you have to
yeah.
really fly by the seat of your pants in the mid game to try to keep everything tethered. And like Bodica has a
I
very
mean,
different dial than Biggs, who has a very different dial than Rex.
if you can withstand the Bodica shot, I think you have to sink everything into Kyle.
You kill
He's
Biggs or Kyle. That's the secret
yeah,
right now. I'll tell everybody. You have to eat the Bodica shot once or twice, and you just have to kill Biggs.
yep,
Um,
for sure.
'Cause and like this is a list too where everything's got to kind of stay close together. Like,
correct.
yeah,
You can
because things,
outposition it.
yeah.
I did really mean things to Jorge, who was dancing around me, but that was mostly at the cost of Fen being able to perfect information reposition ships around his I5 Plo Koon.
Mm.
And then an early target lock I took with Biggs, being able to clip an ion torpedo. Like one of the 2 times I shot it. The ion torpedoes are just there for chopper most of the time. But I did shoot it and ionized his Anakin, his 7B
It's
Anakin. And
amazing how
then,
ion torpedo serves more of a purpose for Cad's for is it's not Cad Solus, it's who's the Joy Rakoff, and now for Biggs and Chopper than it has ever served as actual weapon. And it's a good
yeah,
weapon. But it's just funny that it serves like
yeah.
upgrade card purposes more than
It's,
it gets used as a weapon.
yeah, I mean, it's situationally good. It is 4 dice. I think against Riley, I shot it just because it's 4 dice is better than 3 dice.
Yeah.
And he had a
Right.
one hull left on a ship. And then I shot it against
Yeah,
Jorge. And those are the only 2 times I shot it.
for sure. Um I included a link to the Windy City trials, which just seems random, but just curious from like all the way where we are now versus all the way then, back in April. And just a couple of things stand out to me that are actually worth mentioning. One is that back in April for the Windy City trials, nearly 50%, or sorry, nearly 60%, 57 and 0.6%, were running 5 ship lists. So of the field, more than half were 5 ship lists, and 25% were 4 ship. And then now with the Alamo Conquest, you had 47.5% running 4 ship lists and 32.5 running 5. So what does that say? Is that 5 ships is still something that you should expect to see, but 4 ships is going to be probably the commonplace uh, now moving forward. California System Open similar with those metrics as well.
This was part of the reason my list did as well as it did at this event, was that the ship count did come down from 5 to 4 average. That matters a lot. A, being the higher ship count on average means that I have a little bit more objective pressure than normally a list that flies in a block on one side of the board does. And B, it means that all my defensive stacking matters infinitely more the less guns there are on the other side of the table, right?
Yeah, I mean the I6 coordinate force, token sharing, all of those things jamming, like you can be flexible to play objectives too. And you did that with ancient knowledge. You were easily able to play the objective. Your opponent, I mean, the less ships you have, the more pressure is on you when your opponent decides to play the objective. You're like, I have to respond and I can't afford to, versus you are like, I can apply pressure and afford to do that. And that's a luxury. And then in a 5 ship count list, and this meta is gonna help allow you to do that. Um, the other thing, Windy City Trials had the three factions, top three: Resistance, Scum, and Rebels. And then Alamo, we have Empire, Rebels, FO, Republic, and then you hit Resistance, and then you hit Scum. So small sample again. I just think this is interesting to see how people are feeling when these new points drop, and there's an event where they can kind of flex. This is the list I want to try or I want to play. So what are people kind of for the first time? What impression do they want to leave, or what are they trying to go with first? And so you're seeing a bit of an inverse with what people uh brought for Alamo versus what they brought for Windy City in terms of the faction representation as well, which is
Hmm.
interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about we'll be wrapping up here soon. We'll talk about Adepticon briefly, but what are some overall, we've talked about ship count. Where do you see other trends for this game going? Or even if it's not necessarily informed purely by data because we don't have a ton of it, but where maybe a prediction, or what are your thoughts in that regard moving forward?
It's kind of hard to say. I've been looking at list builder and stuff a lot, trying to find out what's good. I think there's a lot of, I think of like aces and an ace archetype are definitely more viable than they have been, like just pure aces in a while.
Sure, yeah, that's a good
Varmint showed us
distinguisher:
that
pure aces versus featuring an ace, right?
before, yeah, as opposed to like featuring an ace. I think you have a little more time to dirtle around the board and dodge out of shots instead of taking a turn to double reposition and not get shot at, and then losing all three objectives and losing the game. I think you have a little more time to do that. I think generics are something definitely interesting to look at. I don't know how much of a toll they'll make, especially at least in the filler slots. A lot of them are very, very cheap,
And they can take loadout in a lot of cases too. Yeah,
and they're worth looking at compared to 2.5 and even the start of XWA land. Generics have not been particularly good or desirable to take in any fashion. Where now I think they're worth looking at, especially in certain chassis.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, like I said, this is kind of to me it feels very 2.0 plus objectives, which I feel like it is striking kind of a good balance. I do think with the lower ship counts, I feel that we're going to be moving into a high initiative meta again.
I fear that as well. I don't know if it's a fear, but I definitely think like I'm gonna take 4 high initiative good ships over like 2 or 3 of them, and then my 2 like glupshitos, right?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
just fill in the
Yeah.
I
fill in the
mean, when
void.
Whisper's 15 points and Iden feels like an ace too. I mean,
Yeah, that's for
aciness
sure.
is going to
Mhm.
be a theme.
Yeah, I will say I guess I didn't really mean to say I don't fear that as much either. Unless like I just hope that it just gets to a point where it doesn't feel too samey, where everything kind of homogenizes around, just kind of like the same archetypes like that you'll see over and over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. I also think like lower initiative jousting efficiency stuff is back on the table again, and less of these mix arms kind of lists, and more like you can just build a I'm gonna you know joust you and hit you really hard in the face lists.
I would also say that I do feel because objectives have been nerfed a little bit. I think that's what is leading people to this not jousty kind of format where if you are, I experience this more just heuristically, I think like as an ace player, that there is a lot more time to dirtle, especially I would say with the lower ship count that we can now go
Mm-hmm.
to later and later rounds, that we don't have to finish this game or get our points by rounds 5 or 6, but we're going to really see them in round 7 and 9, that we can spend the first 3 turns setting up and trying to outmaneuver your opponents a little bit more than just do the straight joust. So to me, that's been actually a breath of fresh air with this new point system.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have to try to force an engagement turn 2 like you had to in 2-5,
Yeah,
where it's like you
And
pretty much
half
have
points
to.
keeps you
Yeah,
honest in that regard. You know,
that
if you're
too.
gonna make a commitment, you're committing more. There's a higher stakes to that decision than,
absolutely.
oh well, I'll just out double mod and alpha my opponent before they can kill my ship, so I win out because I won't lose any points, and I'll get all their points. You know, not the same dynamic. Um,
Mhm. I think it's really interesting.
yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Though I believe that the door has been opened for pure, as you said, pure ace lists to become a thing again, and that's going to the we might see a little bit more of a skill ceiling being maybe being raised, or just people reaching for it if they're going to challenge themselves with aces. Especially some, like, again, Whisper, standardized Whisper is very cheap right now. So there are some things that we probably will see end up getting adjusted before or right after Worlds. I have talked to XWA about their plans for making adjustments before Worlds. There will not be any sort of comprehensive points change before Worlds, but there probably will maybe be some tweaks to things that would be concerning for, the ultimate competitive event of the year, of the season. Just a heads up for anybody worrying that XWA would change a bunch of things again. We all agree it's time to kind of sit with this for a while. Let's talk about Adepticon as we just start to wrap this up. Adepticon, aka Worlds for X-Wing in 2026, is happening in Milwaukee, here in the US. That's in Wisconsin, from March 25th to 29th. That's Wednesday through Friday, or sorry, Sunday. Wednesday through Sunday, March 25th to the 29th. 312 Squadron is streaming Worlds. We
That's
made that formal announcement. That's the
Woo!
biggest milestone we've could ever hit as a channel, is streaming Worlds.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
incredible.
really hyped to be there with everybody and to show off what we've been able to accomplish in our channel and our standards and in front of a global audience.
So you're
Um,
saying we have a chance to win now because you're not playing, right, Nick?
I don't know if I've ever been that much of a threat to people like to people like you, Oehler, but uh, I'm not too bad at this game, so sure, let's go with that. Thanks for blowing up my ego a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna feel weird not to play for sure, but I'm okay with it. I can kind of, the longer I've done this, the more I can understand where Dion drifted into. I'm just gonna stream, before. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm drifting into I'm not gonna stream at all, but just that mindset. It's like that. This is like my obligation first and foremost is to stream the event, and I care more about the community and social aspect than I do about pushing ships around all day and exhausting myself. I think I'll be stressed out enough doing the streaming, so other things to now be stressed about, but it'll be a great time. A couple of reminders for folks who are thinking about or planning to go to Worlds. First of all, I hope you can go, and if you can't, you should tune in to watch. It'll be 4 days of X-wing. The event cart preview, which is like the events for Adepticon, all the games, all the things you can do, that doesn't go live until December 15th. So a lot of people were like saying, I didn't even think X-Wing at Worlds was happening. That same logic, no games are happening at Adepticon right now because you can't. There's no information on any of that available on Adepticon's official site yet. So just be patient. It is happening, 100% guaranteed. We have literally been looking at the floor plan for where we will be playing and streaming. So like it's happening, and there will be an announcement from XWA regarding those details soon. But remember, December 15th is the preview, and then event registration will be open January 11th. I don't know about you guys, but this seems a lot later than I'm used to. It's happening later in March, but to be able to register happening just a couple of 3 months beforehand seems different than what I'm used to. Maybe I'm just
Yeah, I
crazy,
think
but
it opened in November, December before.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, this is a quicker
So
turnaround, so
yeah, for sure.
but this is where you get the inside scoop.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, this is I'm basically leaking this. I don't think I'm gonna get into too much trouble, but There will be. I'm stealing this from the XWA group too, as well. But the plan right now, again, subject to change, but very much likely, pretty much close to being finalized, is having a heat on Thursday, the 26th, and a heat on Friday, a different heat, heat two on Friday, the 27th. And then there would be a Saturday day two, similar format as the last year in all regards, and a final slash top cut day on Sunday, the 29th. So the quote unquote competitive events start Thursday, the 26th, and run through the 29th, two final table on Sunday. There will be pods on and side events on all of the days, and there will be doubles events as well, and maybe even more. We are securing the space for people to be able to play casually as well. We're working on incredible prizes. I just dove into that chat and took a look at some things that almost made me faint. So there's a lot to look forward to. Just keep in mind that uh, you will have lots of opportunity to play X-Wing with the XWA and your crew and your friends at
That's
Worlds.
exciting.
That's so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so
I'm
stoked for this
hoping
year.
hoping to make it.
I hope so, man.
Hope to see you there. Yeah.
Yeah. I again, anyone that's able to make it, this is an important transition year. 2026, a transition and growth year. There's been growing pains so far. It happens with what a game goes through when it isn't officially supported anymore, and the response from XWA and the community has been better than most games have received when they've gone through the same thing. So just if you there will be a lot of people going, and there's unless you're looking for a reason not to play, you should go if you're able to.
It's
Again,
just
if
so
you're
much
able,
fun.
it is, and I totally understand cost.
Yeah.
I get that. I
Yeah.
totally get it.
That's the most valid reason not to show up. If you can afford it, no, the if you've been to Adepticon, when it was in Schaumburg, Schaumburg is great, but this last year that now this in Milwaukee, it was just so nice to have like so much to do around the convention center. It was
Yes.
so accessible. And for people flying into, I thought maybe it might be a little more difficult getting from the airport, but they were like, no, there's like shuttles that go like right there. People could take the train like right there. So like even that wasn't as much a concern. And it was just, I don't know also if it's because the weather decided to be like 80 and sunny for like that first day that we were there too, but it was just like a wonderful time.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed last year, so I haven't had the Milwaukee experience. So I'm excited.
Got to come to the MKE.
Yes, sir. Yep. It's a easier area to navigate, like Andrew said. More to do. It just feels more like you're a part of an ecosystem of a city
An actual
than
city,
Schaumburg.
yeah.
Then yeah, because Schaumburg and Chicago are far apart. They are not remotely close. 45-minute drive with traffic's not too bad.
Yeah, all the
So
restaurants aren't chains.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, when people saying I can't wait to go to Chicago for Worlds, I'm like, maybe Chicago O'Hare, but that's about it. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for jumping on, Mr. Oehler. Congrats on your two-time Conquest
Yeah,
championship.
big time. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
I appreciate you
It was a
playing in them.
Yeah, it was a blast. I tried to play in as many as I could. So
And congrats to the other Andrew, Mr. Andrew Kouba, for getting his invite to play alongside Oehler. The Drew Bowl will continue in December for the Global Conquest.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for listening to this episode. This is episode 34. Thank you for continuing to support 312 Squadron as we have finally hit the milestone of streaming the X-Wing World Championship at Adepticon in 2026. We would not have been able to do it without the resilience of the community, the support you all have given us, whether it was just following and liking our posts on Facebook, watching, commenting on our videos on YouTube, tuning in for a live stream, gifting a subscription to a friend, supporting us on Patreon in the most generous way you can. All of those things, and listening to our podcast, of course, have in our Discord and playing in our leagues and tournaments and all the things. I could go on and on and on. Those all have contributed to making this channel and this game continue to move forward and grow and exist. So I just a big heartfelt thank you as we head into the end of the year. There's a lot to reflect on. and a lot to be excited about. If you aren't following us on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, you should. You can check out the links in the description. And we are super hyped to continue to support XWA through our Patreon reward efforts. We are creating incredible custom commission cards, base plates, stickers, everything you could need to be able to show off and create serious FOMO for the people who are not a part of our Patreon. So if you want to get in on that action, check out our Patreon tiers. It will be worth it, and you will keep us going. Well, that's going to do it for this one. My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Andrew Kouba.
And I'm Andrew Oehler.
We're signing off.
Good night.